Hello there, Lunar Squadron. Welcome back to the channel. Today is a massive day for us Star Wars fans as we received the official world premiere trailer for Star Wars Outlaws. That is the open world Star Wars game that we've been waiting for out of Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment. Today we received a trailer that is 2 minutes and 38 seconds long, but it is packed full of great story details here, so we are going to be unpacking everything. This is more of a cinematic trailer, and then we're expecting actual gameplay for this game tomorrow, and even more content as we make our way through to release, which this game is now confirmed to be coming out in 2024. So to stay in touch with all things Star Wars Outlaws, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are going to be breaking down everything to do with Star Wars Outlaws, including the story trailer right here and the gameplay that we're receiving tomorrow. So to stay in touch, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification button right on next to it. It's going to let you know every single time that Nick and I break down the latest Star Wars Outlaws content as it is released. But guys, there's so much to talk about today, so we're just going to go straight into the breakdown. Now, before we get into our frame-by-frame breakdown, I want to go ahead and highlight something, that being this short little description about Star Wars Outlaws. It says, experience the first ever open-world Star Wars game set between the events of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So we get a pinpointed area in the Star Wars timeline that this game is going to take place, and we can infer even more about when this game takes place based on the contents of the trailer. More on that in just a moment, but first, this description continues to say, explore distinct planets across the galaxy, both iconic and new. So we're getting iconic planets and brand new planets. Risk it all as Kay Vess, an emerging scoundrel seeking freedom and the means to start a new life, along with her companion Nix, which we also know from the StarWars.com article that was posted alongside this trailer. Nix will be voiced by D. Bradley Baker, which is awesome. Love to see a friendly face voicing Nix here. And then this description goes on to say, fight, steal, and outwit your way through the galaxy's crime syndicates as you join the galaxy's most wanted. So just from the very forefront, we see that this game has so much to do with navigating the galaxy's crime syndicates, and you're going to see a lot of that crime syndicate, underworld, outer rim flavor as we make our way through the very many details that are packed throughout this trailer. So let's go straight into it, guys. The trailer starts off with a voice line from our new protagonist, Kay Vess, who says, quote, "These are dangerous times." At least that's what I hear. The Empire, they're everywhere. So right off the bat, we know that we are entering a universe that is in the age of the Empire here. Of course, from reading that description, we know that this game takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. More on the exact pinpoint of the timing in just a moment. But then the trailer opens up to a battle between the Rebellion and the Empire as we see TIE fighters, X-Wings, Y-Wings. In the bottom left-hand corner here, we see a GR-75 medium transport, and as the shot pans forward, we can see many different ships in the background, including, I know you all can see it at this point, the CR-90 Corvette, and the big moment of this point in the trailer, which is when an Imperial Star Destroyer crashes out of hyperspace and straight into that Corvette, causing an absolute explosion here. Just a very cool scene to open up this trailer. And speaking of the Empire, we're confronted with our first shot of stormtroopers in this game. Now, I know this is cinematic, so it's impossible to tell if this is an in-engine cinematic or otherwise, but one detail that I am noticing is what looks to be, reflections in the stormtroopers' eyes and helmets, where you can really see the details from surrounding the ship. it leads me to wonder the graphical quality of the gameplay and whether we are going to get, active ray tracing in this game, which I would fully expect given that this game is confirmed to be on next-gen consoles only. So just a moment to park on that for a second. This game will not be releasing on the previous generation, so PS4, sorry guys, this is going to be exclusively on the next-gen and PC. So I am expecting the best of the best in terms of graphics for this game. Of course, this is a cinematic trailer, so we're going to hold off on any judgments until we do get official gameplay tomorrow. And then this trailer moves forward onto more of these Syndicates, guys. We are met by, you know it, I know it, this is the Pike Syndicate here. We see a line of pikes that are traversing up this entryway into a ship, and we do see this is clear as day, the Pike Syndicate here, which makes perfect sense because the very next line out of Kay Vess's mouth is, "But the world here belongs to the Syndicates." Now, she's referring to multiple syndicates here. We see expressly the Pike Syndicate here, but as you guys know, the Pikes are not the only syndicates in the Star Wars galaxy. There are 5 notable syndicates known as the 5 Syndicates, and they include Crimson Dawn, the Pike Syndicate, Black Sun, Crymora, and the Hutt clan, which we will see in just a moment. There's also a 6th smaller member of the 5 Syndicates. I know it's a little weird that the 5 Syndicates technically have 6 syndicates within it, but that 6th syndicate is the Son Tool Pride Syndicate. All of these syndicates operate in their own niche area of whether it be exploiting or smuggling contraband throughout the galaxy. They all have very unique personalities and deal in a particular kind of trade, whether that be smuggling spice or transients, and they have a very interesting power dynamic in the galaxy, and I can't wait to see this game flesh that out more as they do explore this area in the galaxy. And speaking of smuggling here, we have our favorite smuggler, Han Solo, who is frozen in carbonite here, which tells us a lot about the timing of this game, because not only do we see Han Solo frozen in carbonite, which lets us know that this is in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, we see that Jabba the Hutt already has possession of Han Solo. For those of you who didn't know, after the events of Empire Strikes Back, there is a whole War of the Bounty Hunter comic line which explains how Han Solo makes it from Boba Fett to Jabba's palace, and it's not as simple as you guys would think. This is an all-out war which does involve Crimson Dawn and Kira, and this whole war culminates in a moment where the Hutt clan does end up attacking the Empire. Now, before this moment, the Hutt clan has a very unique relationship with the Empire, where the Empire is willing to turn the other way and let the Hutts operate and deal in whatever way they want. But after the Hutts attack the Empire's executorship, the relationship between the Hutts and the Empire is frustrated, to say the least. And it's at this point where Kira and Crimson Dawn spark an entire war between the Syndicates. And it looks to me, from this point in the trailer where we do see Han frozen in carbonite with Jabba, that this would be the point in the timeline where the Syndicate Wars would be playing out. So it just gives us more information about what is going on in the galaxy at this particular point in time. Now, moving forward here, we do see the face of someone who I believe to be a member of a syndicate or crime syndicate, and you can see very slightly the reflection in their face shows a very poor Celestin who is about to meet his demise here, and this plays out here. You can see the individual who we do believe is a member of a crime syndicate. I can't really place which one just given the fog here, but we can see that this individual does take a nice hack at this poor Celestin. And what a beautiful transition into the Lucasfilm Games logo. I'm sure that Celestin died for something, and it is this great visual effect here. But as we do make our way through the trailer, we do see this cantina shot here, where we see from left to right a Rodian, a Gamorrean, and a Danzican sitting at the bar, and they are of course being served by a Twi'lek. I love all of the details here in this bar. You can see in the background there's just so many people in this bar, and the next shot is our very first shot of our protagonist Kay Vess, who is described in that Star Wars article as a clever scoundrel in the galactic underworld. She's sitting at a table playing sabacc, and as the camera pans, you can see her companion Nix, who is voiced by D. Bradley Baker. And Nix kind of looks like, a cross between an axolotl, a salamander, this Nix character is already lighting the internet on fire, as you can imagine, as being, the latest adorable character in Star Wars. So big love to Nix here, as Nix is snooping around underneath the table, and you can see that Nix is poking around in this holster, and to the left you can see that Nix locks eyes with what appears to be an impact grenade that is strapped to the hip of one of the sabacc players that is in the game with Kay Vess. And you can see here that the camera does pan to the two individuals who are playing sabacc with Kay Vess, and you can see they're looking suspicious of her going all in this moment. You can really tell this is a moment where we are exposed to the personality of Kay Vess as being someone who is a bit flamboyant, is going to overplay her hand when perhaps she doesn't have the best hand here. But that makes her, this very outgoing character. I feel like she's going to be very outgoing and is really going to have a big bombastic personality, and you can really see that here with the disapproving look of these two characters here. Of course, we're seeing a Quarren and an Aqualesh in this sequence, and you do get a voice line from Kay Vess in the back which says, "If I want to survive, I have to play their game." And so you do see that she is maybe a good-hearted person, but is forced to play dirty because she is playing with people who are playing dirty and who might be cheating as well. So she's kind of forced to kind of play that way. Now, this trailer does end up with all hell breaking loose, as you can see in the back of this shot. Two individuals enter the bar. We do believe that these are bounty hunters who are going to be trailing Kay here. You can see that she locks eyes with them, and immediately you have this oh shit moment where the two bounty hunters are presenting a bounty puck to the Twi'lek here at the bar. And the Twi'lek immediately outs Kay, and all hell breaks loose at this point, where Kay, wraps up the game, and everyone just busts out into an all-out brawl here. This is one of my favorite details in this trailer, as this Gamorrean tries to throw a punch at this Rodian, completely misses, and the Rodian clocks the Gamorrean there. And my favorite detail here is actually this Celestin in the back, who's just completely gobsmacked. He's covering his mouth, and he's just frozen as he sees this fight playing out. I love that little detail in the back. It's all about the details in trailers like this for me. And speaking of the details, look at how many people are flooding this bar, as you do have the bounty hunters mowing through different patrons in the bar, including this poor Ithorian who's just enjoying his drink, and his drink gets shot out of his hand here. Poor guy's just trying to have a drink at the bar, and it's just not going his way here. But as the scene progresses and the bounty hunters chase Kay outside of this cantina, we do get a great look at the bounty hunters, and we can infer from one of their blasters a little bit about their backstory here. So this is a great shot here where you can see the two bounty hunters side by side. I want to single out the one on the left for a second. The one on the left is using an SE-14R light repeating blaster. And if you didn't know, this blaster has been affiliated and used by the Aqualesh crime family, who are a part of Jabba's criminal empire. And they are also affiliated with the Pikes. So that might provide us with some insight into who sent these bounty hunters after Kay. Was it perhaps the Pikes, or even the Hutts, as we did see both the Pikes and the Hutts involved at some point earlier in this trailer? So just makes me wonder, based on the weapons they are using, maybe we can infer a bit about their background. And I also want to just rewind a second here and point out some of the characters on the left. You can see that there's one character who appears to be smoking, and below that on the steps you can see he peeks up for just a moment. This does look like it is a Trandoshan, guys, and if you love Trandoshans, you love Bossk, you're in the right place. Of course, Bossk being Nick's favorite character in the Star Wars universe. He absolutely loves him some Bossk, and I just want to take a moment here, like the video if you love Bossk as well. We'd love for you to share in that love for Bosk. But let's just go ahead and keep going here as Kay throws what appears to be a thermal detonator back at the two pursuing bounty hunters as she books it through this area here. This area does appear to be a new location, doesn't look perfectly familiar to me, so I'm wondering if this is one of the new unique locations that they are bringing to the galaxy far, far away. It does give me those Batu Black Spire outpost vibes, but I'm not seeing any Black Spires in the background, so I don't quite think that it is the Black Spire outpost. Now, one detail that we were able to decipher is actually this glowing sign at the front of the cantina here. Now, initially, we were really confused by what this sign says. Of course, we were trying to translate this sign. It didn't look like Arabesh to us at first. It looked like maybe some other language, but then it hit us. This sign is actually rotated at a 90-degree angle, and if you rotate it 90 degrees, it is actually Arabesh, and we were able to translate this sign, which does read Janta, Jaunta. So the folks over at Ubisoft tried to throw us a curveball by rotating this one 90 degrees, but you know us here at Lunar Squadron love translating us some Arabesh text, and you're gonna have to do a little bit more than rotating it 90 degrees to get it past us. And one more detail that we did spot is an Arabesh A in the neon sign up on top of the cantina. I'm guessing that the neon sign probably says Janta from top to bottom, and it is maybe the name of the cantina, like Janta's Cantina or something like that. I did look up whether Janta is something in universe or it's been pre-established, but it does seem to be something new. So I can't wait to explore this Janta Cantina when we do get our hands on the game. Now, at this point, we get another voice line here where Kay says, "I've been held back my whole life, and now I just need a chance to finally be free, whatever that takes." Now, I have some theories on what that potentially means and why she's trying to buy freedom, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But first, I want to break down this next segment here as we see Kay just chasing through the streets with Nyx hanging off of the back of her speeder here. She makes this jump, and you can see, I'm really hoping that this is a massive open world environment that we can explore in actual gameplay, and it's not just a trailer moment here. But this does appear to be a unique world created just for this game, and if so, I cannot wait to explore this world and learn more about it here. Now, this next sequence does appear to be in a different location on what I believe to be Kanto Bite, and I have a bit more on that in just a moment. As you can see, Nyx here running throughout a crowded area with Kay, and then you can see in the back that architecture looks like it's classically Kanto Bite, and we actually have confirmation from later on this trailer that Kanto Bite will be in the game, so I'm just going to go ahead and say pretty confidently that this sequence is Kanto Bite. Of course, not 100% sure. Another detail that we can see in the back right-hand side of the screen, you can see an astromech droid behind a few people, and another Ithorian to the left here. Again, this world just appears to be packed full of Star Wars lore and details, so love to see that. Now, this next sequence here, we are introduced to Kay's ship, and we can actually confirm that this is Kay's ship because of the dialogue in the game. She's met by a character by the name of Jalen. Now, Jalen looks at Kay and says, "I'm here to offer you a way out, Kay." And Kay responds, "Get off my ship, Jalen." And then Jalen, of course, responds saying, "Give me a chance." And he goes on to explain this plan, which we'll break down in a moment. But first, I want to park on this to highlight a tattoo that we do see on Kay's chest. This tattoo looks very similar to some of the icons that we have seen associated with crime syndicates. And this just makes me wonder, based on dialogue from earlier on, where she says that, she has to finally take her chance to be free, whatever it takes. And she's looking to buy freedom in this game. And it looks to be a real driving, motivating force for her. I'm wondering if she is a member of a syndicate that is tattooed on her chest, and we just can't see the full insignia here. It's not the Crimson Dawn insignia, nor is it any of the known insignias that we are aware of. However, it just leads me to believe that she is maybe a member of a syndicate and is trying to buy her way out. That would make sense here just based off of the context. Of course, we're just speculating based on the details that we do have, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that potential theory. Now, this is our first look at Kay's ship, and we are able to meet two brand new characters here. To the left, we have Jalen, who Kay does appear to have a prior negative relationship with, and on the right, we have a BX commando droid who is, of course, wearing a very cool trench coat. A lot of people are loving this look of the commando droid in the trench coat. Reminds me of Obi-Wan in the trench coat. I guess it's the year of trench coats in Star Wars. And Jalen and Kay, of course, clearly know each other. Kay's not happy that Jalen is in her ship, and she clearly wants him off of the ship. But he makes a pitch to her where he says, "You're gonna have to trust me. It'll be dangerous, risky, but if you pull this off, you'll never look over your shoulder again." So this again confirms that Kay is proceeding her way through the galaxy looking over her shoulder. It's as if she screwed somebody over, perhaps a syndicate over, and she has to go through the galaxy looking over her shoulder, dodging bounty hunters left, right, and center like we've seen at the beginning of this trailer. Now the next sequence shows what I believe to be a heist, guys. That's right, we have a Star Wars heist game, and we see Nix and the BX commando droid in the trench coat, and they are sneaking around a corner here, and it looks clearly like Kay is inputting a code to unlock a vault. We have an open world Star Wars heist game on our hands, guys, which is just super exciting. Now the next sequence here, we have a few Trandoshans in a speeder chase with Kay. You can see that they are chasing her down in this cool slow-mo sequence here where she does manage to take down at least one of those speeders, but we know that she is continuously on the run in this game, chasing from various factions. Now she's, in the mess with the Trandoshans. She's constantly looking over her shoulder, and we know that this is going to be a problem that we can expect to face in the gameplay of this game. Maybe as we're exploring the open world, there will be various factions, syndicates, and bounty hunters chasing us down, which is just a very cool vibe. I can't wait to see how this plays out in gameplay tomorrow. Up next, we have a Rancor. That's right, guys. This is not the first video game this year that is confirming a video game Rancor, which is a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. I love to see another new entry into the Rancor gaming market here from Ubisoft. Can't wait to see how this boss battle plays out in this game. Now, up next is a very exciting sequence where we see Kay and Nix exiting hyperspace, and you can see that this planet that does appear in frame here is actually a known planet. We know what planet this is, and it confirms itself in the next sequence here. This is none other than Kijimi, guys, which is very exciting to see a familiar planet, and this shot here does go ahead and confirm that this is in fact Kijimi. You can tell by the topography, and of course the keystone feature here is that mountain. It is Mount Izukika, which is the mountain which Kijimi City is located on, and you can see that that is what is in the background here. And of course, Kijimi is very much known for Poe Dameron and Zori Bliss, who were inducted into the Spice Runners of Kijimi, which operated in and around the New Republic era. So what I'm wondering is, this game might explain how the spice trade made its way to Kijimi. Of course, this game taking place before the New Republic era and before Poe Dameron and Zori Bliss would be operating with the Spice Runners of Kijimi. So I'm wondering, just given the involvement of the Pikes here, of course known for their involvement in the Spice game, that this game might show just how the spice trade made its way to Kijimi, or at the very least, it might show how the spice trade was already established on Kijimi way before the New Republic. So I just can't wait to see more details about Kijimi as we do make our way through release of this game. Now up next, we have another familiar planet, and this is all but confirmation that Cantonica, or maybe even Kanto Bite, will be in this game. This really does look like Kanto Bite. You can see off to the coast. There is, that coastal city. You can see the coastline. It almost has like that Monaco vibe, but the one confirming feature from this shot is that archway. You can see the glowing text or glowing pattern on the archway. This is an identical glowing pattern or text that we do see throughout the Kanto Bite sequences in The Last Jedi. So this confirms that Kanto Bite will be in this game. It's just all of the details here, from that text, which is unique to Kanto Bite, to the architecture in the background, to that coastal view, giving off that Monaco space vibe. This is definitely Kanto Bite, which just opens up the whole Pandora's box of possibilities, where we can maybe even see a casino heist here on Kanto Bite, which is awesome to think that we could possibly be getting a casino heist in an open world Star Wars game. This is just so cool, and I'm wondering if this character here is a villain in this story. It looks like he is very ominous, just the way that he's peering over the coastline of Kanto Bite here, and then he kind of peers into the camera menacingly. Who knows? They could be switching it up on us, and this could not be an antagonist, but just the way that he's being presented makes me feel like he is going to be an antagonist in this game. Now, at this point, we get another voice line, quote, "The underworld shows no mercy, but it's a big galaxy out there and I'm gonna risk it all." Now here we can see another look at two members of the Pike Syndicate. One on the left here is holding a box, and he's got, the full Pike garb on, and then one on the right who appears to be an unmasked member of the Pike Syndicate who's checking this contraband. It really reminds me of that moment from Solo where they are checking the unrefined coaxium to see if it's legit or not. I'm sure that this member of the Pike Syndicate has a very close eye, given that he's only got one eye here, but he's definitely got an eye for whether this is legit or not, and I'm very curious as to what his conclusion is, if this is, legitimate contraband or if it's going to be false contraband. And up next, we have yet another shot of our main protagonist, Kay, who's looking through her binoculars here. One little detail that I did notice here, if you look right here, you can see a tattoo of Nyx on her wrist, which just shows her relationship with Nyx. Nyx and Kay have been through some shit. They are big pals here. They are partners. They are so close to the extent that Kay would actually get a tattoo of Nyx. It's little details like that that tell you more about their relationship and tell you more about what is meaningful to Kay here, as Kay does look over this beautiful landscape here. It does have very unique topography. You can see in the background, it's got almost like these glowing rocks. And I think this is an area that we saw earlier on in the trailer where Kay was navigating through what appeared to be almost glowing caverns or a cave. And I think that's probably this location. I cannot pinpoint where this is in the current Star Wars galaxy, so I am willing to bet that this is a new area. We can maybe infer that this is an Imperial occupied area because we see that there are a few TIE fighters and there is even an Imperial shuttle that are making their way through the horizon here. So I am wondering if this is in fact an Imperial occupied area, because I did get the vibe that this is almost like an outer rim area that is untouched by the Empire, just given the natural beauty, but it looks like at least the Empire is looming in this area. So definitely curious to see the extent of Imperial involvement and what this planet ends up being called. And this shot does fade into the next sequence, which is the final sequence for this trailer, which shows Kay, Nyx, and the BX Commando droid, and they are navigating their way through a very deadly standoff between the Empire and the Rebellion, as we have an Imperial Star Destroyer in the back left-hand side of the frame up against various EF-76 Nebulon B escort frigates here, and all over the place you can see X-Wings, TIE fighters, Y-Wings duking it out in dogfights. And one notable detail here is you can see that Kay does exchange fire with a TIE fighter here. So she is clearly on the side of the Rebellion, as she does go ahead and blow up this TIE fighter right here. So if you're wondering what side she's on, I'm not sure if you're able to pick sides in this game, but at least in this trailer, it does seem like she's clearly on the side of the rebellion as she does blow up that TIE fighter and very nimbly and expertly navigate herself outside of this situation. And the camera pans out to the exit screen, which you can see here does show that Star Wars Outlaws is coming 2024, and we get the official poster for this game. That is our complete breakdown of the Star Wars Outlaws trailer. There's so much to pick apart here, so sorry if we missed any details. That said, we'd love to provide a forum in the comments down below for all of you to talk about the various details that you noticed in this trailer. I'm sure there's so many details that I wasn't even able to touch in this breakdown. Of course, the breakdown can only be so long, so I really do appreciate all of you loving and enjoying the content. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate if you press the like button, and if you're new to the channel and new to our breakdowns and want to stay in the loop for our breakdowns of Star Wars Outlaws trailers in the future, including tomorrow's gameplay, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that little subscribe button and click the bell notification button right on next to it. It's going to let you know every single time we upload. However, that's going to do it for this breakdown. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all in the next video.